The two shaded squares below are the same size. A is the point 17, 8. B is the point 7, minus 2. What are the coordinates of the point C? So we need to find the coordinates of this point here. To do that, let's mark what we know on our axes. So we know that point A has an x-coordinate of 17 and point B has an x-coordinate of 7. So that's a difference of 10 because 7 plus 10 is 17. So we know that the length of the square is 10. And that's important because we know that the two squares are the same size. So that means the length of this square is 10 as well. So to work out the x-coordinate for point C, we can work out 7 minus 10. That's minus 3, because from 7, if we go back 7, that takes us to 0, but then to subtract 10, we need to go back another 3, and that takes us to minus 3. So that means the x-coordinate, the first number for C, is minus 3. So now we need to find the y-coordinate. We know that the y-coordinate of point A is 8, and the y-coordinate of B is minus 2. Again, that's a difference of 10, and that makes sense because we know that squares have sides of the same length. So because we have a difference of 10, we'll have a difference of 10 for this square as well. So we need to find 10 less than minus 2. So on a number line, if we're at minus 2 and we go back 10, that would take us to minus 12. So that must be the y-coordinate of point C. In this tower, two numbers are multiplied to give the number above. So they've given us an example, and that makes sense because 4 times 3 is 12. We need to write the missing numbers in the tower below to make it correct. So for example, we have something times something is 75. But there are lots of different factor pairs for 75, so let's look at this box and this box first. We have something times 4 is 24, and 6 times 4 is 24, so this missing box here must be a 6, because 24 divided by 4 is 6, so that means 6 times 4 is 24. So now, to find this box here, we have something times 6 is 75. So if we divide 75 by 6, that will give us our missing number. 7 divided by 6 is 1, remainder 1. 15 divided by 6 is 2, remainder 3. So we need to extend with a point 0, copy up the decimal point, and write our remainder 3 in front of our tenths digit. And now 30 divided by 6 is 5. So we have 12.5 or 12.5 in this box here. And to find this box, we need to work out 75 times 24. So we can use long multiplication, and that gives us 1,800. Here is part of a number line. What is the value of x? So we need to work out what these little lines on our number line represent. Now we have 0 and 100 marked, and to get from 0 to 100, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. So if we divide the difference, divide 100 by 4, that tells us that each line represents 25 more as we go up. So the value of x will be 25 more than 100, so that's 125. Now we need to find the value of y. So we can see that on the number line, y is below 0. So if we go back in 25s, from 0, we'll have minus 25, minus 50, and then minus 75 for point y. This is a rectangle with its two diagonals. Angle x is 58 degrees, circle the two angles that are the same size as angle X. So we can see that this line here is the same length as this line here. So we have an isosceles triangle. And with isosceles triangles, we have two angles of the same size. So the angle that's different will always be opposite the side that's a different length with an isosceles triangle. So that means angle D is the same size as angle X. We can also see that we have a Z or backward Z angle. So that means angles inside the Z will be the same size. So because angle D is the same size as angle B, and we know that D is the same as X, that means angle B will be the same as X as well, because we have angles on a Z angle. And we can use Z angles because we have a rectangle, so we know that this line here will be parallel to this line here. And if we have a line crossing parallel lines, then we can use Z angles. Write the missing numbers. So here we're partitioning numbers, and when we partition, what we're doing is showing the value of each digit in a number. So first we have 3,005,400 equals something plus 5,000 plus 400. So our missing number is 3 million. That's a 3 followed by 6 zeros, because notice in the number after the 3 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits. And when we partition, we turn other digits into zeros. Now we have 980,600 equals 900,000 plus something plus 600. So they've partitioned the 9 into 900,000 and the 6 into 600. So we need to partition this 8, this digit here that's in our 10,000s place. So this 8 stands for 80,000. That's 8 followed by 4 zeros, because notice in our number after the 8 we have 1, 2, 3, 4 digits, and when we partition we turn other digits or digits to the right into zeros. Megan makes a sequence of numbers starting with 100. She subtracts 45 each time. Write the next two numbers in the sequence. So 100 minus 45 is 55. 55 minus 45 is 10. So we need to work out 10 minus 45. So because the number that we're subtracting is larger than the number that we start with, we know that our answer will be a negative number. So on a number line, we can work out 10 minus 45, because from 10, if we go back 10, that takes us to 0, but we want to go back 45. So we need to subtract 35 more, so that we've gone back 45 altogether. And 0 minus 35 is minus 35. So that's the next number in our sequence. Notice here, to work out 10 minus 45, what we can do is work out 45 minus 10 and then make sure that we have a negative sign in front. So now we're on minus 35 and we need to subtract 45. So on a number line, from 0, we've already gone back 35 and we need to go back another 45. So that takes us to minus 80, because if we go back 35 and then 45, that's going back 80 altogether. So our answer is minus 80. What is 5/8 as a decimal? So we need to remember that a fraction is really a division. So to work out 5/8 as a decimal, we can divide 5 by 8. So divide the numerator by the denominator. So 5 divided by 8 is 0 remainder 5. So we need to extend with a 0.0, copy up our decimal point, and then we can write the remainder 5 in front of our 10th digit. So now we have 50 divided by 8. That's 6 remainder 2, so we need to extend with a 0 and write our remainder 2 in front of our 100th digit. Now 20 divided by 8 is 2 remainder 4, so we need another 0 on the end so that we can write our remainder 4 in front of our 1000th digit. And now 40 divided by 8 is 5 with no remainder, so as a decimal, 5/8 is 0.625, because 5 divided by 8 is 0.625. So notice, to work this out, we put a decimal point and then zeros on the end of the 5, but that doesn't change the question. 5.000 is still the same as 5, because all these zeros tell us is that in the number 5 we don't have any tenths, hundredths or thousandths. Peanuts cost 60 pence for 100 grams. What is the cost of 350 grams of peanuts? So we know that 60 pence is 100 grams, but we want to find 350, and we can't multiply 100 by a whole number at least to get 350. But what we can do is work out 300 grams by multiplying by 3, and then we'll be able to work out 50 grams, because 50 is half of 100, so we'll be able to work out 50 grams by dividing by 2, and then if we know the cost of 300 grams and the cost of 50 grams, putting those together will give us the cost of 350 grams. So 100 times 3 is 300, 60 pence times 3 is 180 pence, or £1.80. And then, because we know 300 but want to know 350, we need to find the cost of 50 grams. And from 100 to get to 50, we can divide by 2, because 50 is half of 100. And 60 pence divided by 2 is 30 pence. So now, because we know the cost of 50 grams and 300 grams, we can put those together, and £1.80 plus 30 pence is £2.10. So that's the cost of 350 grams of peanuts. The other way to solve this is to first divide 100 grams by 2 to work out that 30 pence is 50 grams, and if we know that, we can then work out 350 grams, because 50 times 7 is 350. So we can work out that 30 pence times 7 is 210 pence, or £2.10. Print charges are 3 pence per page and 75 pence for the cover. John pays £4.35 for his book, including the cover. How many pages are in the book? So we know that of the £4.35 he paid, 75 pence was for the cover. So if we subtract 75 pence from £4.35, that gives us £3.60. So we know that John spent £3.60 on pages and then 75 pence for the cover to make £4.35 altogether. So if we know that £3.60 was spent on pages and the cost of a page is 3 pence per page, we can divide 360 by 3, because £3.60 is 360 pence, and we're told the cost per page in pence. Now 360 divided by 3 is 120. So that means there are 120 pages in his book. We can check 120 times 3 pence is 360 pence, so the same as £3.60. And then if we add 75 pence for the cover, that will take us to £4.35, so the amount that he had to pay. Now write a formula for the total cost of printing a book with a cover. T stands for the total cost in pence. Use N for the number of pages. So if it's 3 pence per page, we multiply the number of pages by 3, and then we need to add 75 pence for the cover. So T equals 3N plus 75, because 3N means 3 times N, so that's 3 times the number of pages plus 75, because you need to add 75 pence for the cover to work out the total cost. And we can see that this works for the example that we solved in the first part. If N is 120, so if there are 120 pages, we can multiply 3 by 120 to get 360, and then add 75 to 360 to get 435. And 435 pence is the same as £4.35. Triangle ABC is isosceles and has a perimeter of 20 centimetres. Sides AB and AC are each twice as long as BC. Calculate the length of side BC. So we know that the triangle is isosceles, which means that these two sides are the same length. And we know that these sides AB and AC, are twice as long as BC. So we need to calculate the length, and we know that the perimeter is 20. So remember, the perimeter is the total length around the outside of a shape. So with a bar model, we can draw one bar for BC, and then we can use two squares for lines AB and lines AC, because lines AB and AC are twice as long as BC. Now the total length, the perimeter, is 20, and because we have 5 squares, if we divide the total, divide 20 by 5, that tells us that each square is worth 4 centimetres. So line BC is 4 centimetres, and our other lines AB and AC are both 8 centimetres, because they have 2 bars of 4, and 4 plus 4 is 8. So the side BC is 4 centimetres long.